just like do a podcast where we just like we just make up a bunch of news. We're like, hey, all right, first news item: Crash Bandicoot was caught embezzling money for Activision, and Nathan Drake got a DUI, and Cappy's running for president.
So honestly, I kind of like that idea for a short video thing, a skit thing.
Yeah,
we get friends, we get suits and all that.
That would be good too. Yeah.
We just play it straight.
We just cut it back and forth between next time.
I think we're again copying the Easy Allies crew with mandatory.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Which in turn was copying SNL, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Weekend Update. Yeah. Everything is derivative from something, Jeff. Yeah. It always goes back to The Simpsons at some point.
It's true. Simpsons created everything.
Like the world, life as we know it, and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Hello and welcome, Jeffrey, to the episode 116 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
Jeffrey, how has this week been treating you?
Pretty good.
In your life, and your family, and just, how is it?
Pretty good, Darby. Pretty good. How about you?
Not too bad. We played some D&D.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
We've done 2 different sessions now, and I think it's going decently well.
Yeah.
You might be able to look forward to that on a podcast feed called Nerds and Dragons that has not been set up yet, but hopefully will be set up in the near future. I'm going to bank a few episodes for it to do it, and the editing is a lot more intensive than any other edit I've done for our content, so we'll see what pace I make those at. But
so, since we're doing that, are you happy with our Nuzlocke? We're planning on just streaming it.
Yes. Yeah. I don't. If I was responsible, if I had to edit all these D&D podcasts and edit down Nuzlocke in the way that I used to, I know that I would just run out of time. Yeah. And this reminds me of the work I did with the Nuzlocke, but I think in some ways this is even more, just because it's so much, it's so long, and I'm having to cut through everything. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. Like we said before, I'm taking a lot of inspiration from the Adventure Zone. So if you're a fan of that, I think you'll be a fan of this. I'm gonna get better at DMing as we go. I'm a little nervous, but I think I'm already getting a little better. So if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, or even if you're not, like I wasn't before this, and this is the first time I've played, we're very rules light, and I have the story that I'm gonna tell. Hopefully it'll be pretty cool. I'm excited. All right, well, Jeffrey, we're going to get into actual video games, get these board games, these tabletop games out of here.
Those are real games.
We're in the future. It's all digital now.
Yeah.
Jeffrey,
Darby,
have you been playing any new games this week, or any updates on games that you had previously been playing?
Actually, Darby, I got a game. Death Stranding. No.
Yeah,
gonna kill the bit there.
we're happy to announce that we got Death Stranding early.
Yeah.
Our whole life has been Death Stranding.
Yep, I spent 500 hours on children.
If my life's been Death Stranding, then I can firmly say solid 6 out of 10. About a 6 is what I give it. Jeff, what did you get?
Oh no!
You did.
The whole joke about
that was all part of the bit.
It's all part of the bit. No, but honestly, didn't play anything new. I didn't have much time for much ukulele or anything. I played some more Final Fantasy 14. Got farther in it. Had my first raid boss.
Okay, yeah.
Fight Ifrit.
Ooh, how was that?
Went good. My party got mad at me. I got a group of those people that took this way too seriously, if we're being honest, because I could tell. I kind of figured that odds are at least some of the people in this have done this boss fight before,
right?
So there was a cutscene or whatever, so I was kind of going through it kind of fast, just kind of speed reading it, and I think I missed just through it. Mechanic thing, because apparently Ifrit can summon some kind of minion thing, and if you don't kill him in time, Ifrit just does a move that kills everyone, and you gotta start over or whatever. I missed that memo if they said it. So I was killing them. I was fighting Ifrit. I'm the DPS trying to kill it. I usually don't pay attention to the chat.
Yeah.
So I look over at some point, saying my character's name, hey, kill the thing. Come on, dude. What are you doing or whatever?
Mm.
But we ended up winning. It was fine. And then I do a cutscene. I get out of it. One of them wrote a long thing saying, hey, dude, you need to kill it. So blah, 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 blah. In the future, you need to pay attention to the rules and all our people are saying or whatever. And I was like, man, you take this way too seriously.
It's probably a lot of people also just like forget that, like, remember, people are still like just first starting this game. Not everyone is like an expert that's been doing this for hundreds of hours. Yeah, that's always frustrating. I mean, the competitive game, really the only competitive game that I've like interacted with random people on is Overwatch. But a lot of times people will be in quick play in Overwatch, which quick play is the casual version. There's a competitive mode if you want to be try hard. And people are like screaming at someone for being out of position or doing something wrong in quick play. I'm like, dude, chill. if you're this serious about it, go over there. I don't know. That stuff, like, yeah, people like sometimes online gaming can bring out the worst in some people, for sure, which is obnoxious.
Yep.
But cool. Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. I haven't played too much more, but did my first dungeon with you. That was cool.
Yep.
Still definitely enjoying the game. It kind of has that slow pace like a lot of MMOs do, I think, at the beginning. But overall, still really enjoying it. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see the group dynamics where I think my white mageness will come more into play than it does in my
very needed
single. I think that's a lot more of a group class than it is a single class. But,
but some stuff to look forward to. Outer Worlds comes out in a week.
Yes. And After Party and a little bit after, like a little bit more in a week. Yeah.
So
yeah, both of those I'm very excited about. What are your plans as far as playing those? Like, I think apparently I don't know. I want to play both of them. I might like juggle both of them at the same time. I'm looking a little bit more forward to After Party just because I've been looking forward to that game for a long time. And I like Oxenfree so much. That one seems like a little bit more of the sure bet to me.
Yeah.
But me and you get both of them for Game Pass, so it's like,
yeah, that's nice. My goat. I mean, it kind of depends. I know I work all next weekend, so I may not have much time for Outer Worlds, but I might try to jump into that.
Yeah,
because the good thing is Outer Worlds is apparently not crazy long either. So
yeah, I don't think either of these games
for
are
that kind of game.
Yeah, they've straight.
When we say not crazy long for Outer Worlds, we're talking like it's 30 hours. I think it's been tossed around.
I thought it was less than that.
It might be less than that. I think I remember seeing 30 hours, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
30 hours might be you do a lot of the side stuff.
I mean, you still compare that to New Vegas, and that New Vegas, which probably play like 100 hours.
Open world, open-ish world story games nowadays, then usually
take way more than that. Yeah. Which this seems like a more pared down version, not in a bad way, in a good way. It's like very focused.
Well, we'll see if it's good or bad on Tuesday.
It sounds like a good way
because. Reviews coming out a couple days early, which usually it's a good sign if they're not like the day before.
Yeah.
Death Stranding's coming out a whole week before, I believe.
Kojima's very confident.
Yeah.
So we're gonna probably like, when is the embargo for that?
November 1st.
Yeah. So 2 weeks from today, recording on Friday. I think the conversation about this game is just gonna be so divisive, but we've run that into the ground. We've talked about it a lot. So well, I do in the game talk section, speaking of kind of me having an opening to play games, I want to have a sad conversation that I just want to kind of like bounce off with you a little bit. Because I think, Jeff, I've finally gotten in this last week, I think I've gotten to the point where Fire Emblem is starting to become kind of a chore to me. It's just starting to feel like it's been slowly creeping up on me for a while. It was around like after the time skip, and then like I got a few missions into there, and the content is undeniably better, but it didn't seem better enough to counteract the fact that I've been playing this game for like 70 hours, and just any game that I play, even games I like that's a lot of time, especially to play straight back to back.
Kind of curious, what chapter are you on?
I don't know exactly.
I think it's like 22, 23 for your route.
To
finish the game.
Okay. I don't know. Then I don't know exactly. I'm like 3 or 4 chapters past the time.
So you're like on chapter 16ish.
Okay. Yeah. And it's kind of like all the complaints I've had since the beginning of the game are true, are like stayed true the whole time, except back then it kind of just seemed like minor complaints. Like those complaints are basically the game is ridiculously too easy. It's just like I do stupid things and aren't and not punished for it. And I know there's a higher difficulty, but that doesn't help me. I was already like 50 hours into the game when that difficulty was put out there, so that doesn't help me at all.
That difficulty should have just been in there at launch.
Yeah. The other things are, I think the map design itself just kind of like there's not a big enough variety. It ends up, I feel like I'm doing a lot of the same things over and over again. And the story is just not that engaging to me. And like I said, all these complaints were true from the start. It's just as we got 70 hours into the game, it just like slowly got worse and worse and worse for me. Like the fact that those problems weren't getting better to the point where like I felt myself like I logged on, like I turned it on just because it's like I probably need to get through this. And I started like going through more of the social things and started getting into the battle. And like I had to like honestly like kind of be real with myself. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm just like, this feels like I'm doing this because I feel like I need to be doing this, which is it's a bummer.
Yeah.
I really don't want to be feeling that way. And I hate it. Like everyone else seems to like absolutely adore this game. And don't get me wrong, I still really like this game. I think it's really good. And I got 70 hours of it, but I am a little worried that I think I'm going to look back in this way, like not quite as bad, but I think I'm going to look back at this game in kind of an Octopath Traveler type of way, where like I think I had a lot of enjoyment out of it, but it was certainly not good enough to withstand its length for me personally.
Yeah, I'm definitely not that way because I was considering doing the second route for Edelgard after finishing.
There's no way in hell I'm doing that right now.
Main reason I didn't, because I did play a long time, so like I could take a break on this, and the fact there's so much other stuff to play is like it's probably not the best thing for me to do as far as playing other stuff for this and just in general to go into that route.
Yeah.
And it will be there. Luckily, the Edelgard route is the shortest one, and I'm obviously at the time skip. So
yeah, you can just start right there and go. That wouldn't be.
I say that it'd be different if I had to start a whole nother playthrough. Darby, I know this would be mind blowing to you, and it's kind of mind blowing to me. There are people that have played every route.
I can't imagine that. I just absolutely can't imagine that. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people played this faster than me. Like
even with that, it's
even with that, that's just
it's a lot of Fire Emblem.
And like this very well could be one of these things. Like maybe if I went back and played Radiant Dawn now, I would have a lot of the same complaints and like also not be like maybe I'm looking back at some of those with rose-colored glasses. But when I'm playing this, it just.
I mean, you were like what, 13 or something when you played that?
It was very little, but at least like that one did have the pushback of like I had to spend a month going over a battle at times and like try all these weird different strategies, whereas this really just feels like it feels like what I imagine Pokemon gets to at a point where it's like there is no challenge here. I'm kind of just going through the motions. I'm just. You know what you need to do. Don't send your squishies into the people and you're fine. And even if you do make a mistake every now and then, you're going to be fine. Like,
right, you got the turn back time thing.
Yeah. And I
just more incentive to turn your brain off.
Yeah, which I think 70 hours in. Like, and I also like I started thinking like, is this just a problem with me in length for games? Like, is that just my biggest problem here? But I don't think that's exactly true either, because like not too long ago I played Persona 5, which took me over 100 hours to beat, and at the 70-hour mark I was just as invested, if not more, than I was at the beginning, because the story had changed and like gotten so much more like I don't know, like everything was like pulling you in. It's like, oh, you've gotten used to this. Well, how about this? And like these cool different gameplay things. And I also brought up to you in the text that I talked to you about Breath of the Wild is another one that, like, hour 70 is completely different than the other one, than the beginning of the game. And it just changes so much. Whereas Fire Emblem, it just kind of feels like I don't know. It kind of feels like this is just never-ending thing that doesn't change.
I think also for you, because you haven't brought it up, is the support thing. I've seemed to have enjoyed those generally a lot more than you have. It could also just be, honestly, I don't think that it's a big difference, but it could partly be we pick different houses. So,
yeah, but
so it might be. I'm not saying that I don't think there's a giant, just generally big gap in quality. I was saying there's a chance, like maybe a story or two for that could have done more for you.
There's definitely a chance. Yeah, I haven't seen your side, and I know that, like, obviously, I think the Black Eagles was obviously the main focus for a lot of things in the development of this game.
Yep.
So I could see that being the case, but it was kind of just the general writing and the general flow of, like, none of the stories seemed that important. They were just overly wordy, and, like, the entire game, it was just like, you are this stereotype and you are exactly this stereotype always. And that is a thing that's been true for Fire Emblem always. I think I've just gotten a little older now, and I'm just, like, less, I don't know, willing to deal with that for this long. For the first, like, 20 hours or so, it was still fine, and then it started getting a little less fine and a little less fine to now, like, the last 10 hours of gameplay, I've started skipping the support conversations, which I hate it, but
yeah,
I wasn't even reading them anymore because they were just so obnoxious to me. And I hate being this negative about this game. Like, I was so excited about it, and again, I still recommend it. I got 70 hours of awesome, Fire Emblem. I think in certain ways, this is, like, the best Fire Emblem's been. But in other ways, I kind of feel like this game kind of does things just because it's Fire Emblem, so we need to do this. We need to have this giant mountain of conversations. The vast majority of them are not even remotely impactful or meaningful or even worth your time. But we got to have all these characters talk to each other, so we better put them all in there. Like, I would rather them kind of rethink this whole damn thing and just have meaningful conversations than just, we're going to overload you again and again and again. Yeah.
Also, deaf to the silent protagonist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's terrible. Yeah. I don't, because that's also the word. Like, Claude, and this is another thing. Claude, I think, coming up through the first part of the game, I thought he was, like, a really cool character and everything. But then as soon as that time skip happens, like, he suddenly became just, oh, you were just generic main character guy putting the plot forward. Like, all of his charm just completely left. And he started having
5 years was a lot to take a guy.
He started having, like, a lot more, like, emotional conversations with your protagonist. And, like, I don't buy a second of any of it. Because, like,
they're in a war, Darby.
You're just this, like, a silent, weird person who, like, I don't know. It's just, it is just such a
definitely one of the main complaints, the whole silent protagonist thing, and the fact that you're the chosen one. You're a god to these people. You're the best at everything.
It's
like,
so
deaf
lame.
to it.
Yeah, it's so
go
lame.
away.
It's so lame. Yeah. So I think I think for my own, like, just enjoyment and just, like, I don't want to play a game that I'm not enjoying. So, like, I might come back to this next year. That's kind of where I'm at this point. I think I'm going to shelve this for a while. Like, I don't want to completely burn out my opinion of this game and Fire Emblem by, like, dragging myself through this, because that's the way it started to get to. And, I mean, it's a bummer, but I'm glad this sold well, and I'm glad people like it a lot. I just kind of hope that we take a little bit of a different direction with the next one, because this one definitely did not get to the heights that like me and you thought it, or at least, like, the heights that me and you were collectively talking about leading up to it. I don't think it really got there. Like, I think they made a good, solid Fire Emblem game that was just way too long for the ideas they actually had.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be as long as it was.
Yeah. I mean, that seemed exciting at first, but now it's like, this could have been significantly shorter.
Well, as I mentioned, the whole evil cult thing shouldn't have been in the game.
Oh, yeah. I agree. The only other thing that I want to say is, I think this is kind of a weird take that I haven't seen other people say. I think this is about the worst Fire Emblem music I've seen in the Fire Emblem game. I think the music in this game is kind of dull. in comparison to like Awakening's music was beautiful. Even a lot of Fate's music was just like, it had range. It was like it like, and it still seemed like a fantasy like medieval thing or whatever, but it like, I don't know, some of those tracks are just like, they hit me emotionally, and especially Radiant Dawn. Are you kidding me? Like, there's just so many of them. This one, I just feel like I saw a lot of people like really complimenting the music in this game. I just thought most of it kind of felt flat, and then a lot of the battle music, it had this like weird kind of almost electronic beat like behind it that just didn't flow at all. Like, I don't know. I was really just underwhelmed by the music in this game, which for Fire Emblem, that's a big deal for me. Like, I love Fire Emblem music. And this is, I go back and listen to the other game soundtracks all the time. I don't think I'll ever do that with this one.
Darby, I know what you mean. It needed more butt rock.
God, no. God, no. All right, we can move on. I can stop trashing on this game that I overall liked. Only other thing is, speaking of silent protagonist and you being the hero of legend, how it sucks. I played a little bit more of the Dragon Quest 11 demo thing. Boy, how did that game start slow. Jesus Christ, that game starts slow. I'm sure it gets there, but like when I started, I'm like, oh boy, this feels like a 1980 start to a JRPG.
Yeah. Well, that is also a game that's 100 hours long.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna play it. Not anytime soon, but yeah.
So good.
Alrighty, Jeffrey. Well, if you don't have anything else, let's get into that news jingle.
Jingle. So yeah, let's get into it, Darby. We're gonna talk about Blizzard again. No, we're not. We're gonna talk about Riot.
I mean, is this that company-wise? Is it that different, Jeff?
That racist?
No, I'm just talking about No, Jeff, don't. All right, now I feel like I have to defend myself.
I'm joking.
But people listening to this podcast.
Okay. So Riot had a little conference presentation thingamabob where they kind of focused on League of Legends, and that's a whole bunch of projects mainly relating to League of Legends. So let's go through them. What I'm probably going to do, Darby, is read through what all they were, and then we'll talk about the ones that we actually...
The, like, two that we...
Yeah. First thing, Project A. Fantastic name. Competitive character-based shooter. Project L. Fighting game set in the League of Legends universe. Project F. League of Legends social game, Darby.
Now, eagle-eyed listeners will notice that Alf confirmed for Smash Bros.
Legends of Runeterra. That is a name, Darby.
That sure is a name.
Free-to-play card game. Nice.
That sounds right for Legends of Runeterra.
Wild Rift. League of Legends for mobile and consoles. Probably not the best way to play that game.
I would have to imagine that.
Arcane, League of Legends animated series. Because I'm sure people play League of Legends for the story. And League of Legends esports manager.
Some League of Legends super fans gonna find this podcast and like tear you apart, Jeff. And like,
as they should. So yeah. We finally got the League of Legends esports manager sim that we've always wanted.
Well, now I can really just drop Fire Emblem in every other game I'm playing. It's time to just wait for League of Legends esports manager. Yeah. The goatee of whatever year it comes out. Confirmed.
Yeah. It's coming out next year, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Move aside Final Fantasy VII. Move aside The Last of Us, whatever that is.
Cyberpunk. Yeah. So the main ones we're going to talk about are Project A and L.
Yeah, get out of here, F. What is a League of Legends social game?
I don't know, man. I didn't want to go any further.
Is it like a dating sim?
I hope so.
I really hope so, too. Yeah. Project A. So we'll start with A. This is obviously very much Overwatch inspired thing. Like when you watch the trailer, they showed a little bit of gameplay. It is a hero shooter. Like very much, it even kind of looks like Overwatch, and you see a bunch of people like doing different like area of effect moves and all this other stuff. It very much looks like the League of Legends take on hero shooter. My immediate reaction to just looking at it is like it visually looks significantly worse than Overwatch.
But they made sure to point out is in the video very early development.
Yeah. But also League of Legends itself doesn't look great. I mean, I'm sorry. It just like visually, those models look like a PS2 game. Like I know it's like people love that game and everything.
Get out of this house.
I mean, League of Legends is kind of one of those things. Like, I know I'm biased because I just play Overwatch, but like Overwatch, like I get like people talk about the hype of like, oh, this team beat this team and all this whatever, and you look at it and you see people shooting each other and all this, like it looks epic and everything. League of Legends, I see this like giant crowd of people and these teams and all this prize money and everything. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And I look at it and like League of Legends just always looks so underwhelming to me. It's just like top down with these little people moving around. I know that I sound so ignorant right now because I am, but like it's just never has like looked appealing to me. But anyway, I think this has a potential. Overwatch definitely has problems. Or like at least it's like kind of it's changed and morphed and like put itself in a different position at least. Like there's a lot of power creep, and now at this point, like Overwatch is a very kind of complicated game if you've never played it before. Like I kind of can't really go to Will or someone else I know, that even someone who like Will who likes first person shooters, I kind of at this point can't in good conscience be like, come play Overwatch, because it's just there is so much going on, and if you haven't kind of slowly watch the game change, you're just going to be very confused. Not because you're like bad at games, it's just because it just, that's just how it is. So like I do think another hero shooter could come in here with like a different, almost like a fresh start.
Actually, I'm going to go back to that whole changes thing and confusing thing. I don't necessarily, I may not maybe misunderstand what you mean, but I don't necessarily agree.
Well, when's the all right, go ahead.
I mean, you're saying like all these changes and stuff. If you're not following them, you don't understand. Like, well, to them, there have been no changes. They can just jump right in. I don't necessarily see why the changes affect people just jumping in. Because I jump in and out and stuff. I don't necessarily follow as much as you guys. I don't know.
You haven't played in a long time, have you?
Yeah, but I'll probably jump in. It'll be the same as always. I mean,
yes and no,
but I don't see what's the problem with someone new jumping in just because these changes happen. To the person jumping in, that will be the way it is.
No, I mean I think it was a simpler game when I first started.
I guess. I mean, if you're jumping in for casual, I don't see why.
In a lot of ways, like back when we first started, there was just like so many less just like area like status effects, all these other things going on, like way less characters. Just the game itself was played in a simpler way. Like I'm not saying that like people like me who played a decent amount are like better or anything. I'm just saying it's hard. It's not impossible, but it's just harder to get into.
I don't know if I agree.
I don't think I'm alone in this.
I guess it might be harder, but I don't see why it'd be such a difficult thing to get in. Like any other game. I mean, if you're going straight to the competitive thing, that's one thing. But if you're jumping in for a casual thing, I don't see. I don't necessarily see what the problem would be.
A lot to learn. I'm even confused in a lot of things. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not. I'm not
saying they want to take time or anything. I'm saying it'd take time and stuff to learn all the characters and general things to do. But I don't think it'd be that big of a thing.
I don't know. But either way, I do think there's room. There's a room. There's like people like. They could have a different take on a hero shooter that I think could work. Like the eye test for me, like looking at it first, it just kind of it appears like a lesser, like it doesn't have the polish obviously that Overwatch has. I mean, part of that is being super early in development. I also think this is like the first time Riot's done a first person shooter like this.
I guess.
I think it is. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. More competition in the hero shooters might be good.
Yeah, might be good.
It's pretty much Overwatch dominated at the moment.
It is. Like I don't have a whole lot of interest in it just because I do have Overwatch, but it's one of those things they have to sell me on it. Like when the game actually comes out,
They'll put Waluigi in and you'll be in.
Yeah, man. Sold me.
Yeah. Well, let's get to that fighting game, Darby. They're doing a 2D fighting game.
I mean, for the little bit I know about League, I know they have a buttload of characters, and that's usually is pretty much all you need to make a fighting game out of your franchise.
Yep.
You need just a lot of different characters.
I just saw a little bit of the footage, but it looks like they're going for the whole 2D technical fighter thing, which
is good.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Mm-hmm. So no idea how this will go. It's I feel like with fighting games nowadays, and I know there are examples where that's maybe I feel like it's hard to get into the fighting game, bubble unless getting a new game in there or series or something else. You're already related to a series that's already a thing, even if it's like Dragon Ball FighterZ or whatever. Even then, that was Arc System Works. Another thing, if it's already a developer that's already connected to it, so when you hear like Capcom or Bandai Namco making a new or Arc System Works, you'll be in. Riot doesn't have that kind of that connection to the fighting game community. So I don't know how.
It's a little bit more of a question mark. Like, it could be great, or it could, mechanics wise, not. I mean, no matter what, League of Legends is just absolutely huge. So there's gonna be a lot of eyes on this. And I think if it's good, it'll sell. If
they're going for like the competitive, technical stuff, they need something. They need a hook that makes it stand out because there's so many fighters that people love for a variety of reasons. So if you want to take people away from that, it's gonna need something. Yeah,
it's like, what are they going for? Are they wanting to be on the Evo stage?
Yeah.
Or are they wanting to have a side game that League of Legends fans play?
Yeah.
And if they do the latter, that'll still be a hell of a lot of sales. There are a ridiculous amount of people that play League of Legends for how little me and you hear about it.
Yeah, but it's one of those things.
It's like the most popular game in the world.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not arguing against that. What I was saying is, well, I guess, they just need a certain amount of people, but... Well, it just being have lead characters be enough to drag those people away.
Yeah, I don't really know how side League of Legends stuff does, because I already hear next to nothing about League of Legends itself. Because again, just the gaming industry is very wide and massive, and it's just not our side.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. What I'm hearing you say is they should have called Arc System Works on the phone.
Exactly. Somehow they can just put games out like it's nothing, just all over the place. I didn't know. I don't know how many people they put on a game or how big their studio is, but it feels
they're
huge.
The telltale of fighting games, except their games actually look and run good.
and people aren't mixed on them as much as Telltale stuff.
It's pretty much just all positive as far as the actual games.
Yeah, the actual gameplay and the visual and stuff, obviously, because those Guilty Gear trailers, man.
Man, that's such a pretty game.
Yeah.
Just the animations, it's just so smooth. It goes down smooth, Jeff. It's like a cold glass of water.
Yep, and we will probably talk about that in a couple weeks when we have that gameplay reveal stuff. Or more gameplay reveal. Big in November. Okay. So, Darby, got anything else you want to talk about with this stuff?
Nah, not really.
Let's move on to our favorite game, Darby. The game we're best at, if we're being honest.
You can go watch the Nerds at Large Let's Play, where we got number 2.
Darby, we haven't even said the name of the game.
And people know.
People know. That video is world famous.
It is world famous. That is our claim to fame.
We're talking about Fortnite. Fortnite Chapter 2. But more importantly, we're going to be talking about the marketing and how it led up to the Chapter 2 release, because no one wants to hear us actually talk about the changes in Fortnite, because we'll sound like idiots. Even more so than the Riot stuff.
There's a goo boy with a gun.
But was the goo boy old? I don't know.
He's goo.
Is that Batman that he turned the goo boy? Is that the lore?
It might be.
Okay.
Is Batman a goo boy? Can that be the title of this podcast? Is Batman a goo boy?
That's up to you, Darby.
Do we want to just completely give up on SEO? Or will that help our SEO if I put Batman in the title?
I don't know.
Who knows? The internet, man. It's weird.
Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk about the marketing of this and the whole black hole thing. People who somehow don't know and are listening to this, it was Sunday, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, we were all. Yeah, it was Sunday because we were playing D&D.
Yeah. They teased it in the event. If you were in the game, you saw a bunch of crazy stuff happening, and a black hole opened up and sucked the map through the black hole, and then all you could see was the black hole. The black hole was so powerful, it sucked up the menu screen. So people were in the menu about to try to play, and then suddenly black hole opened up and sucked their character and all the menus in there. And people who didn't know this was happening was like, what the fuck just happened? And
hell?
then kids who tried to play went on there, did not know what's going on, crying, complaining to their mommies and daddies. Those mommies and daddies called customer support.
You destroyed our family, Epic.
How am I supposed to keep my kid entertained now?
So how long until we get the headline, family suing Epic?
Yeah. So, and then obviously Fortnite Chapter 2 became a thing a couple of days later.
With the Goo Boys.
With the Goo Boys. With a whole brand new map and all that. And I think they're actually calling the first part of it Season 1. So, in a way, this is a Fortnite sequel. Because I know there are a bunch of gameplay changes. Again, we're not going to get into.
Do they still have early access on this thing?
I don't know.
That is the biggest joke. If so, that is like the biggest joke.
It was a big joke really quickly.
Yeah. Obviously we have nothing to say about Fortnite or whatever. We don't play Fortnite, but like, this is cool as hell. Like, this was a really, really cool way.
It is kind of a thing like
of doing a new map.
Because they kind of been escalating all these like season changes and all that between, the in-map events between the seasons. How do you one up this?
I don't know. This kind of feels like the peak of
but I get why they went all out for this one, considering this
is the first time it's been a brand new map.
Brand new map, so it makes sense why they, doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's one of those things. Epic is like, we're not thinking about that right now. Like, we're gonna do this, and then we'll deal with how we.
And it was smart because they got everyone talking like we're doing right now.
When there was, what was it, like 7 million people watching?
Yeah, like as it was happening between YouTube and Twitch and Mixer and other stuff.
Yeah, they had like a stream of the black hole, and there was 7 million people watching the live.
I don't think it was just like one singular stream. I think it was just a bunch of people, like streams watching
but
people.
Still,
like Ninja,
still
probably
absurd. That's still like absurd amount of people.
Yeah.
And it was just, this is one of those things that, like, from a video game marketing perspective, like, I don't think you're gonna see things like this too much.
Fortnite's one of the ones that can really do it.
Fortnite is pretty much like just about the only game that can afford to do this. Because I mean, think about what actually happened there. For that time,
they turned down their service.
Yeah, like they weren't making money. You couldn't buy anything with your V-Bucks or do anything like that. There was just, it was down. Their game was down.
So,
and I think we all thought like on Sunday, it's like, oh, okay, this is a cool thing. Before we get done with our D&D session, it's going to be back up. Like, this is going to be like 4 hours max or whatever. It was like 2 days or a day and a half or something like that.
Yeah, so the marketing people had to look for and think of, okay, so how much buzz is this worth the buzz of how much money we'll lose? Because they obviously calculated like probably how much money they'll lose doing this, and like, is it worth the buzz of doing this?
Yeah,
and for this long.
And I think a lot of game companies would have said no, it's not worth it, and they probably would have been right. But Epic is like, Epic's ballsy, and they know that their game is big enough.
And because they built up, like we talking about their in-game events, they built up to this kind of thing, so they knew it was going to get the buzz because it happens, the varying degrees every single time they do it.
Yeah. Yeah. They've always known it's a big thing. So they're like, let's just really blow it up and go like completely crazy there, to the point where like, because it kind of came in waves. It was like, hey, something weird's happening in Fortnite. Look, it's like, oh, look, there's the video of it all get sunk into the black hole. It's like, oh, their Twitter account just has a black page. Oh, they deleted all of their tweets. It's like, oh God, what's happening? It just kind of like kept building and building until...
I think there was also some Epic Game Store shenanigans going on.
Okay. Yeah, well, when I think it was off of the Epic Game Store too, or something, to really like, and they kept saying like, "This is the end." It's like what?
Which it was in a way is the end of the old map, but which also went for some radical changes. So in a way, it wasn't really the same old map.
Yeah,
But as we said, they brand new map, everything new, and then they added some gameplay changes, which I watched the trailer like, yeah, I could tell, at least from the time that we played, they added a bunch of stuff here, so get on them with that.
It's changed so many times over.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that like I'm someone who does not play any Fortnite and does not really have any desire to, But I get pretty annoyed with the people that are just like, oh, Fortnite, God, like
it's a good
Fortnite
game.
needs to die. I'm like, it is objectively just a well-made and fun game that does like crazy, awesome. Like, can you imagine? Like, if you were a kid now or whatever, that's what you're going to lunch talking about. It's like, oh, were you in there when the black hole happened? Like, that's just cool as hell. It's so cool. Like, if I was a little kid, if I was like a 12-year-old and like it was as popular as it is in that demographic, I would 100% be someone that like that's what we would have been going to lunch talking about. It's a cool thing. Oh. And like, I don't know, people get way too caught in this is popular, so it's time to hate it. It's time for us to like gather as a mob on the internet and act like Fortnite is somehow like causing us pain in our lives when it's not. It's I don't know. It just that's my soapbox rant, but it's just
I think what amplifies that is the whole Epic Game Store stuff.
It does, but like this was also Fortnite. I mean, it was
but that it definitely amplified in the last little bit because I think that may have died down a little bit, and then that obviously brought Fortnite back to those people because it didn't really affect them, they kind of forgot about it.
Exactly, your life goes on just like it normally does.
Yeah, Fortnite's a really good game. They do really cool things, and this obviously created a whole lot of buzz. And again, based on that trailer, they've added a whole bunch of stuff to where.
I mean, again, this is another event that like CNN was writing articles about Fortnite. I mean, video games are at the point where like Fortnite doing this is almost like the same level as like the Avengers and stuff. Like, I mean, video games has like met film as far as like giant cultural impact, if not exceeded it in some ways. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And like my mom knows what Fortnite is. I know a lot of people, like almost everyone I know knows what Fortnite is at this point, even if they don't really understand.
I remember like, man, look at this little epic copying PUBG.
So the fact that our podcast has been around long enough that you could go back and look at all of us talking about PUBG and be like, I think there's even an episode of our podcast where that was one of the news stories is, Fortnite Battle Royale is coming out. It's like, it's just a little like PUBG thing. And I'm sure me and you said something along the lines of like, oh, this is not going to work. You know? Like,
I think also, if I remember right, and correct me if I'm remembering wrong, I kind of like, just as far as us being to analyze things and kind of predict, we were like PUBG could easily, before Fortnite blew up, PUBG could easily be overtaken, and I think some of the reasons we named why Fortnite did.
I do. I am proud of that one. I am proud that like me and you, we're not completely on board the like PUBG is the biggest thing ever and it's never going to die train.
Which is, again, I like, proud. I'm not happy that PUBG's not doing as well. It's still doing well, but PUBG's definitely hype still died down, obviously, in Fortnite's.
It kind of seemed like it was a direct PUBG goes down, this one goes up.
That Game of the Year nomination for PUBG, you just look back on that now, it's like, especially in 2017, Nier should have been in that spot. I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Nier one,
Should have been that spot.
Yeah, that's pretty BS.
Or I'm sure there's something else thinking about that should have maybe been over Nier, but Nier should have been over PUBG.
Just like the hype and publicity.
Oh yeah,
completely.
And I like Jeff Keighley, but he does get, as far as the cultural phenomenon stuff, gets behind that a little.
Yeah,
too much in ways.
And I mean, it's kind of one of those things that like, in the moment, you'll have a lot of people are happy, like, yay, PUBG, that's the game we're playing, all the whatever. But this is kind of the price you pay for doing that, is now we're in 2019, and it's like, ooh, yeah, that looks weird. It's kind of like you pay that, you get the initial, this year, it's like, look, PUBG's in there, or whatever. But then a few years later, it looks like, and you pay the price for it.
And obviously, I mean, I'm going to use Nier as an example. There were 100% people are like, why is it Nier nominated? And then before they get out there, more and more people that are like, because Nier is one of those games that it's people who like to just groove.
You get to the point where like me, like you just saying that, I kind of forgot. If you had told me say what the 2017 nominees were, I probably would have included Nier, not like forgetting how many were in there or something.
Yeah, it was I'm pretty sure it's Horizon, Zelda, Mario, Persona, and PUBG.
Yeah. Which, I mean, all the rest of them should be there too, but Nier should replace PUBG.
Okay, there, let's move on. Darby, you want to talk about some Stadia? The thing we've kind of always talked shit about.
We do a lot of shit talking on this podcast, don't we?
Yep. This comes from Anna Bankhurst from IGN. Google has announced that the Google Stadia Founders Edition will be available beginning on November 19th, 2019. Revealed during Made by Google in 2019, those who pre-ordered the Google Stadia Founders Edition will be able to play such titles as Red Dead Redemption 2 and Mortal Kombat 11 on your TV, laptop, desktop, and certain phones and tablets on November 19th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Yeah, I'm not going to read those ones.
Wasn't there something this week about like Google Stadia's controller, like it doesn't do wireless? I honestly thought that was what the story was going to be.
Let me pull that up. Obviously, the release date, that's important news.
Yeah. So like, in case people are not aware, this is the paid edition that gets you access. Like, now in November 19th. But then next year, Stadia is supposed to basically be free. You just pay for the game, and then you can play it. So this is...
Well, it won't be just free. You're still able to pay for the subscription thing, but
I can play games on Stadia without paying any additional price other than the game. Yeah.
And also very important to note, even if you have a subscription, you still have to pay for the games.
Yeah.
Very important. They don't always include that. They make it sound like it's a subscription service thing,
like a Game Pass or something like that.
Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna read quickly for an article from Jay Peters from The Verge. You'll probably be plugging in Google's wireless Stadia controller when the cloud gaming service launches on November 19th. While it'll work wirelessly while playing Stadia on a Comcast Ultra, you'll have to plug in a USB-C cable to use it with computers or phones at launch, Google tells The Verge. Your phones. When Google first showed off the controller in March, I think that's... I don't think I need to read any more than that.
Jeff, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. I don't know. This just seems like there's a lot of things about Stadia that it seems like...
I'm just going to front this, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
When Google first showed off the controller in March, the company touted how you could seamlessly switch from gaming on your TV to a laptop or phone while using the exact same controller, or without having to pair it to each device. The controller would stay directly connected to Stadia service over its own Wi-Fi. So it's not going to be able to do what they said it was. Because they said you were able to seamlessly switch with the same controller without doing some kind of weird thing. But now you got to plug it. So it's not going to do what it says it does.
So
they said.
So are they saying that it will be wireless someday?
I guess
it's just not right now.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. A lot of the feeling I'm getting with Stadia.
I feel like this part. I mean, it's one of those small things. Like if I use Stadia, there's one that mattered to me personally, but it's also one of those things of one of them. Sound like the more basic things you said was going to happen. Is not happening.
It's the whole like convenience of it is supposed to be like kind of the whole point of Stadia, and just the ease of access, and just I don't know, a wireless controller is a decently like basic thing for at least for this service, and like even if we get it, it just seems like the closer we get to Stadia, like we're learning bad things about it, like very close to like before it came out. It's like we're just like sneaking this news out and everything, and it just feels like a service that they were desperate to get out before the PS5 and next Xbox like starts getting talked about and then coming out and everything. Like, so they desperately wanted to get it out this year, even though I don't think they were particularly ready for it.
The Founders Pack is pretty much you paying for the beta.
Yeah, and that's what I saw a lot of people say, like, just call this early access. Just say that you are like getting into Google Stadia early access, and people would
that gets a different connotation for what this actually is on the 19th.
Yeah, it would seem a lot better. Like me and you would not be like as snarky about this if they just said, "Hey, this is early. It's not officially out, but if you want to pay and be part of the early access, if you're like a super hardcore person or whatever, come for the early access and everything." Obviously, that's not as sexy. Like Google Stadia coming out here and be like, "Oh, we got a new console," is a lot better. But also, in the long run, you'll probably piss less people off if you don't like almost like trick them into buying your thing.
Yep.
I don't know. Stadia is still one of those things that I think that like we still could. I mean, we could seem too pessimistic once it actually comes out and it works decently well. But it kind of just seems like the hits keep coming a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know.
Okay, so let me put this. I remember this being a thing. So Stadia will require Wi-Fi to play games at launch, including on Pixels.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, because it can't download the game. Like you have to have
you have to have Wi-Fi. You couldn't use like your phone, the LTE stuff.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to. At least I have Sprint and it's terrible. So I probably wouldn't want to try to stream a game off of just my mobile. That would be a nightmare anyway. But
I agree that I'd be the same way. But at the same time,
there are people that probably have better like LTE. That
Yeah, it's just one of those things of, hey, you promised one thing and you're not giving it. Not exactly what you were saying, and that doesn't sound like it doesn't bode well for the actual service. Which what really suck is the fact that the people that will be writing a bunch of reviews on the major sites will be in places that have better internet generally, and that will be we hear about.
We talk. It's a topic of conversation a decent amount about gaming media people, and so in certain ways, like the different lives they lead versus us, like kind of impacts their reviews and everything. One of those is definitely like the fact that they don't pay for games, so like
that alone influences things.
Oh, it absolutely does. Because the price point, like us paying $60 for something, they could be like, no, but it's a fun little time. I'm like, yeah, but $60. That doesn't mean the same to them.
I mean, yeah, that's an easy thing to be like. That's definitely true because you look how people react to Game Pass and the games they get on that, and a bunch of others like PlayStation Plus and all that.
Yeah,
but Game Pass is more like, hey, you get a bunch of games for free, and that definitely influences like people with Crackdown, for example.
Yeah, but that was just an example. I'm gearing towards is. The other thing is like good internet. A lot of these people are in San Francisco and like major metropolitan areas. They have very good internet. And I think Stadia is going to be a very big revealing factor of the difference between gaming media and their audiences.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see a lot of gaming media be like, I don't know what everyone's complaining about. Stadia works amazing. And then people who buy it in South Carolina or like North Dakota or like the middle of Oklahoma somewhere, and the Stadia like is it's a nightmare for them. And I think that's gonna pop up a lot. And I don't know, I feel like I struggle to see it not kind of impacting Stadia sales if like half the country can't use their thing. And it's another thing that like God, I hope so much that next year they announce that we're going back on what we said. We're going to let you download games.
That is one of those things
solve everything.
Yeah, and then it's just the thing that we talked about that because we have no particular allegiance or really care for like Steam specific stuff, so we get it on Stadia just because like, hey, we might want to use those extra features as far as the streaming stuff sometimes. We like to have the option.
Yeah, I mean, like I would buy it on there, and even if I never use it, I have the option to like when I'm laying in bed, prop my phone up with a controller and keep playing my game there. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then I still have the PC copy. I mean, that would just solve everything. All of the problems that we have, for the most part, would just kind of be washed away if they just had that service, which Google has enough money to just have.
I'm just gonna make the prediction now. By this time next year, they're gonna at least have the announcement of downloads allowed.
I think that's a decently safe bet.
Yeah.
I mean, because like again, this is a company that can afford to do it. It almost feels like they're not doing it now either because they want to like, no, we're a streaming thing, and they want to just push that first and foremost, and they feel like if they offer this downloading thing, then it's gonna like take away from their streaming message and like not help them stand out, which is dumb. It's a dumb. But it's either that or what's probably more likely, this whole thing's kind of rushed. Like, I think this system was not actually ready to come out this year, but they're kind of forcing it out the door. So they probably like haven't developed like you being able to download games just because they haven't gotten to it.
My fear is that this is going to be shelved for the next like 2 years. Because Google is known for doing that because they have the money.
which is why I'm at least glad that for the most part, a lot of the big games that Stadia is getting are also going to everywhere else.
There's
not very many exclusives.
That's that one from the Tequila Works that looks cool, and that's about it. That is literally the only one.
There's gonna be more. I just really don't want it to be games that end up trapped.
I was gonna say about it being kind of rushed is they now say have game studios that like their own game studios that working on stuff for Stadia. They haven't shown shit from that stuff. You would think that would come along with it, but.
Yeah, it probably hasn't been working. Probably Stadia itself and just them getting those studios probably just wasn't that long ago.
Yep.
The only one they're showing you is the Tequila Works game, which looks great, but it looks like a smaller game. It probably didn't take nearly as long to make.
I guess I saw something about it coming to other platforms, maybe, but I might be wrong. I remember something about it being a confusing thing about that. But, yeah. Ready to move on?
I don't know. Stadia. Sure, we're going to be talking about it more.
Yep. Let's talk about something that is actually cool and it kind of has me excited, but I know I'm not going to get.
You're cool and have me kind of excited, but I know I'm not going to get you.
Thank you. This comes from Jeff Couples from IGN. Analogue has announced the Analogue Pocket, a stylish third-party handheld that will play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. It will be available in 2020 for $199.99. Other regions' pricing is not confirmed at the time of writing. Designed by the same team that released the excellent Super NT and Mega SG consoles, the Analogue Pocket has a similar philosophy to allow you to play cartridge-based retro games in the best possible quality without any emulation. In this case, Analogue promises that the Pocket will play every Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance game out of the box. Cartridge adapters will apparently allow the Pocket to play the likes of Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, and Atari Lynx games too. Analogue will also release the Analogue Dock, which works similarly to the Nintendo Switch, so allowing you to directly output the Pocket display to your TV. Games can be played with wireless 8-bit dual controllers or wired USB controllers. No price has been revealed for the dock. Darby, this sounds cool and I want it, but the problem is it will be more expensive to actually buy the games than this thing actually is.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Otherwise, I'd probably consider getting
this thing's dope, yeah. I mean, the screen on it...
I want it.
Like, the screen on it is actually, like, really good. You would think this, like, Game Boy handheld thing, like, they weren't... This is not like they're not selling you like an old Game Boy. It's like a modern thing. The screen looks really nice. And they said it was like 10 times the resolution of the original Game Boy.
And the whole dock thing is also really cool. It's separate, but it'd definitely be worth it.
Which I actually didn't know about that part at first. I'd seen it like right before there, but like that's even.
I mean,
cooler.
no, because what also is really be really cool, and I know there are other ways to do this. What's the retro console? Retron.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's
that sounds right.
Yeah. But you'd be able to use and like we'd be able to stream Game Boy games. Like easy without having to do the whole thing with like we did for the Emerald Nuzlocke.
Yeah. So I can get this thing obviously has like an HDMI.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as like video game preservation, this is awesome. I mean, it's a really cool thing, and the fact that you can just put Game Boy cartridges straight up into this thing.
Something I will keep an eye on and continue to think about, and probably look to see what Game Boy games I can try to find.
Yeah.
And see if I can get those cheap enough to where it's like, is this worth it?
I hope. What do you think the market's going to be like for this for $200? This is one of those things I feel like a lot of people are going to do the same thing me and you just did. That's really cool. I'm not going to buy it. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of those.
Yeah. This is obviously for enthusiasts that probably already have just a whole bunch of Game Boy games.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm hoping they know
them.
that too. I'm hoping that they're like expecting this to be kind of a niche thing.
Mm-hmm. Again, what's holding me back is the fact the prices where Game Boy games go and the rarity of them nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd at least be considering it.
As far as just hardware and a thing that exists in the world, I am very glad, very happy about.
I will keep this in my mind. It'll be something I will probably get way down the line when I have more money.
Yeah, it's probably something I won't hear about too much more after this because I just don't see many people getting it. Like Jared Petty will get it for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
He's hyped.
Yes.
Especially when he read Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Yeah, it's just like I think this will become kind of the best way to play all of these games, just instantly.
Because in the Switch way, you can play them easily, handheld, TV.
Yep. And I'm glad to see like other things. This was obviously probably inspired by the Switch. The fact that it's doing the portable dock thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a novel concept for the Switch, and I'm kind of happy to see some other third-party people doing the same thing.
Because the Game Boy library is fantastic.
Yeah, yeet.
You know whose library is also fantastic, Darby? Capcom. So let's talk about that there, Capcom.
58Z semicolon
that's unfortunate.
40.
Wasn't looking, I'm sorry.
I would have understood.
This comes from Dustin Bailey from PC Games. After a lot of middling years, Capcom has made a big comeback thanks to quality of games like Monster Hunter World, Devil May Cry 5, the Resident Evil 2 remake. The quality has translated to sales too, and Capcom plans to capitalize on that kind of success by continuing to bring back series that we haven't seen in a while. In its 2019 financial report, Capcom tells investors that the company will revive dormant intellectual properties for which we have not recently released new titles by increasing the number of our developers. Capcom's priority is still on making the most of its current crop of core series, but the company is also actively looking to utilize dormant IP. Capcom isn't ready to announce any of these revivals, of course, and that sort of news wouldn't come in a financial report anyway. Dino Crisis and Darkstalker fans have perhaps been the longest suffering among the Capcom faithful, since they've been the better part of 2 decades for proper fourth entry in either series.
Give me a Dino Crisis remake that is just as polished and awesome as Resident Evil 2. Give it to me now. I want it to be like, I want it to look just like the engine, just do the RE2 engine or whatever. I want it to kind of be absurd how good it looks for how stupid the game is, like how wacky the game is. Tell me you wouldn't play the shit out of that.
Oh, I would.
That would be
so Darby, part of the reason I wanted to, I was talking about this is good news all around. Is other than Dino Crisis, what other Capcom IP or stuff do you think could be possible or you'd like to see, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah. Because I got one right here that might be good news for people.
I would like to hear that.
Do you remember Ikumi Nakamura? The girl from Bethesda that stole everyone's heart?
Yeah.
And then left?
Yeah.
She put this on Twitter. Okami is going to be back. We want to make Okami sequel, and fans are looking forward to it too. You guys want to see Kamiya's Okami again, right, everyone? I want to work on it too.
Hey.
And I think I'm trying to remember. She's posted a lot of videos of her messing around. I think Capcom's one of the places she's been visiting.
Yeah, I saw she visited Sony or something at some point.
And Capcom too and stuff. And obviously Platinum Games with Kamiya. So I don't know if you saw this, but people on Twitter are losing their shit over this.
I can imagine. Yeah,
I think there's a slight translation error that's making it makes this sound more like a confirmation than it actually is.
Yeah, it could.
But the fact that she's saying that so publicly with Kamiya and stuff, it's like, yeah. I hope so, because Okami's a game I want to play. I have not played it. It's on the Switch now, so that would be the way I play it.
Yeah. I think in some ways I think it's probably a game that's not aged the best just because of all the like weird Wii mechanics and everything. But it is like I watched the ex-girlfriend play like pretty much the entire thing back in like high school, and it was a really cool like artistic game, and people who like that game love that game.
Yeah, I think Okami would be one of those games kind of like with Beyond Good and Evil, where it's for me like, yes, this game has aged and you can tell, but just the general vibe of it and the art and just kind of the world of it is enough for me to be excited for whatever sequel comes.
Yeah, just because a game has some like aging problems and has some issues, like a game can still be one of your favorite games and be like incredibly enjoyable even not. And I think that a modern day Okami like completely made for now, because the original Okami was a while ago.
Yeah, let me try.
So I think that could work.
2006.
Really well. Yeah.
So there are other than Okami, which might happen because that's one people have been asking for a while. What other ones do you think are potential?
I was honestly just too excited about Dino Crisis that I didn't think too much. And I feel like we had this conversation not too long ago.
All right, well, yeah, I guess we.
But I on the top of my head, I can't think of too many. Did you have other ones?
Well, they sold Dino Crisis, Darkstalker, and Okami, so that's kind of let me bring up Capcom IP just real quick, and then
I've tried to go through Marvel vs. Capcom and play. It's all different.
Let's see. They still make Ace Attorney games, so that's not gonna. Yeah. Onimusha?
Yeah, they did have the
Dragon's Dogma?
Onimusha did have the re-release, the remaster or whatever. In the same way that Okami also had a re-release.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like we are gearing up for that. Yeah, I could see Onimusha for sure. And Onimusha is another one of those that I think a modern take. I think the original, there's more than one, but the old Onimusha games, like when I look at them, it's like I can tell that there's a heart here, but like the acting and the writing is super bad, and the combat looks like really janky. Like I think, but a modern take could be really cool.
Ghost and Goblin Story, obviously.
You just want to hate your life.
Beautiful Joe. Let's go.
He had his chance.
Yeah, those are the main ones that I think might.
What's a Street Fighter series?
Darby, we don't talk about that. So yeah, they're obviously Capcom has a lot of IPs they can do. So,
what do you think is the realistic shot of a Dino Crisis?
I think there's a legitimate shot there. I think it's a pretty good shot.
Do you think it's gonna be like an RE2 remake type thing, or
maybe not as high budget?
Yeah,
but.
Yeah. I remember like there was like Dino Crisis is basically like mechanically a Resident Evil game with dinosaurs, and it has a much more like kind of wacky tone to it, which is why I kind of love it.
Well, I guess they could use the RE engine. Like just thinking of that.
Yeah, in the same way that it looks like they're using the RE engine for Project Resistance, and then
didn't they use it for Devil May Cry?
Did they?
I think so.
Yeah, it might have been the same way.
I feel like they used it in a different.
And then they're probably doing it for RE3 right now.
Yep.
And
RE8.
And I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. That engine's
no,
great.
Everyone loves the RE engine.
Keep using that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just think it would be so like I've watched like I haven't actually played Dino Crisis myself, but I've watched other people play a lot of it. Those games just look like so much fun. They're so wacky and stupid.
As far as long dormant franchises go, I think Dino Crisis is probably one of the more likely bets.
Well, now that Resident Evil succeeded so much, I feel like now we could do Dino Crisis, which is obviously not nearly as big, not going to sell nearly as much, but could still be really cool.
I mean, let's put it. Well, Darby, think of it this way: we could be surprised. Look at Monster Hunter. As far as one that wasn't as popular, and I know they're different things, but
yeah. I just kind of feel like we have a void of dinosaur games. Can you think of any dinosaur games? I mean, like I guess
Jurassic Park.
Is there like? There's not big Jurassic Park games coming out.
Excuse me.
I know there's that Zoo Tycoon type one.
Excuse you.
Yeah, excuse me. And I guess Horizon Zero Dawn has Robo Dinos, but
no, I agree with you.
Flesh dinos.
I feel like Dino Crisis is one of those. Dino Crisis is. There are a lot of different things where just people keep on mentioning on the internet just makes it grow to where there are people like you, even though you might be a little different, that who never even played the original, that just kind of want it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much watched the entire Dino Crisis, so I know everything.
Yeah.
But
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, I honestly believe that internet people talking online made Ridley happen, probably made Banjo happen, might have even made like Cloud happen.
I don't know about Cloud.
Nah.
Cloud's more the
there's
bottom
some
of
other ones,
Yeah, Ridley 100% K-roll.
Banjo.
I
don't think Banjo
My
was going to happen. I don't think Banjo was going to happen. Yeah. Yep. So people could like talk things into existence for sure.
Oh yeah. So we will obviously talk about any of those games that get announced. But next, we're going to talk about a game that's already announced and coming out within a month. And that game is Pokemon Sword and Shield. I know everyone's excited whenever we talk about this.
Okay, can you like start the Pokemon talk while I run and get the water super fast, and I'll be right back.
Okay. So, main things we're going to talk about here is the new trailer. You're asking way too much of me, Darby.
I know.
Not much room.
All right, that's all I need.
Okay, so yeah. Main things we're going to talk about are the new trailer featuring the new Gigantamax forms for a couple Pokemon. We're talking about some preview details because people got to play the first 90 minutes to 2 hours of the game, and yeah, there's some pretty good things to say and some little tidbits here and there that we will talk about. But first, we're going to talk about that there Gigantamax trailer, Darby.
Meowth is terrifying.
Yep. So, people who don't know, they announced Gigantamax works for 5 Pokemon. Pikachu, which makes it Fat Chew again, with a long tail, which is reminiscent of its original sprite. And
Chunky
Eevee,
monk.
yeah. Eevee, where it's just kind of like the fur around his neck just got really puffy. Again, reminiscent of its original sprite. And then you have Butterfree, which just got giant wings. You got Charizard, which is his wings and the top of his head just went on fire, and some spots and stuff on him are different. And you have Meowth.
Yo, we heard you like nostalgia, so we put nostalgia in your nostalgia because of nostalgia.
Yeah, so Darry, I know the whole Gen 1 thing. Obviously they continue to do this. I should get over it and all that kind of stuff. I agree, blah, 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 blah. But the problem is here this. I got my hopes up for less Gen 1 pandering when they announced Zigzagoon is getting a regional variant, which I think that's fair for me, that since I'm especially one of the first ones to get my hopes up that they weren't going to do this as much. But since then, every Gigantamax is either a Gen 1 Pokemon or a Gen 8 Pokemon. Gen 8 are fine, of course. And I'm not even saying no Gen 1, but yeah, the fact. And the regional forms, it's all been Gen 1.
Yeah.
It's like, why? And you do Charizard, which has 2 Mega Evolutions already.
I mean, it's, from the outside, it's just like none of this is ever surprising to me. I'm saying you should complain about it.
Yeah,
but I'm not like that. That's not what, like, I hate when people are like, you should have expected this. Why are you complaining? That's not what I'm saying. You should complain, but I also, like, I could see this coming a mile away every time these things happen, because they know, like, the Pokemon company knows that, or it's like Game Freak knows whenever they put out these things, if they put out a Gen 3 or 4 Pokemon or whatever, like, variation, they're like, yeah, there's some talk about it or whatever. Like, it's obviously get some headlines, but, like, not a ton. You put it out, Charizard gets a new evolution, suddenly front page of IGN, front page of this, front page of that, front page of everything. Like, people are sharing it on Facebook, doing all this other stuff, because it's just the nostalgia sells, and that first gen was the most popular, like, big like boom for Pokemon, and they've obviously been pandering to it for the next, like, 20 years and have never been.
So here's the thing: does it sell? Because I know what I'm about to say. You have no reason to know this. Pokemon sales have been pretty consistent.
Yeah,
like, no matter how much Gen 1 stuff is in there, Pokemon Let's Go sold less than all the other games. And I know what you're about to say, or what people might say is the Switch is early on, which is true, but about every other franchise has broken records. Pokemon did not. Pokemon is one of the few ones it did not, and it sold a good, like, most Pokemon Duo things sold at least 15 million. Pokemon Let's Go was like 10 million.
It broke records, like, for their own franchises.
Yes, for their own.
I mean, to be fair, Pokemon was releasing on the 3DS that had, like, 80 million, like, copies or, like, things in the world. Like, the 3DS was, like, super duper duper successful.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, back when the Sun and Moon times, there were just a lot more people with this system than there were Switches. But Let's Go still definitely underperformed.
Yeah. Yeah, and all that I'm saying is I don't think Gen 1 nostalgia or pandering to the extent they do it, or the reason they do it, is as big of a seller as some people might say to, to make the argument for why that stuff's in there. And the people also made the argument, well, Gen 1 is the most popular Pokemon, which I guess fair. I mean, obviously there's Pikachu and Eevee and stuff, which will be ever popular, which, that's fine. But the reason I think a lot of the Gen 1 Pokemon are still very popular is because they keep on pushing them more than about any other Pokemon. Yeah. So they're always still their forefront, which gives them the excuse to keep on pushing them. And it's just a never-ending cycle. And it's like, you have literally, like, the egg. Like, you literally have like 600 plus more Pokemon than these. And it's more than that. So use them. Like, again, I'm not saying don't use any Gen 1 Pokemon. Obviously, we talked about it. I'm excited to use Galarian Weezing. I like Galarian Ponyta. Surfetch'd is awesome. But
yeah, it's not that we
I
don't
want
want
variety.
this at all, but like when you just keep going back to that well over and over and over again, you really only dip out of it just to be like, okay, look, it's not all Gen 1, but it's mostly Gen 1.
And I've been very annoyed since the trailers been released of people trying to shut down any criticism, just in general of that people might have for Storm Showdown. Even though I'm on the higher end, I know it might not sound like it, higher end as far as people being excited for this.
Yeah, that was so funny when this first started. Like I remember when the first trailer went out, like you were so positive on it, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this looks kind of like safe Pokemon to me. And then like as it's gone on, I feel like you've gotten like more and more down on it, or at least it just comes across that way.
In some ways, I'm more excited. In some ways, I'm not. It's just depending on the situation. It just depends on the news type thing.
To me, just from from the start, just from the time this game was announced, everything from the Gen 1 pandering to just the core philosophy of the game to how the game looks, every bit of it just seems incredibly safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like for this to even build up, like this is the first the first console Pokemon, it's a big deal or whatever. It doesn't look or feel like a big deal. Like it feels like a big deal because people like Pokemon and they're gonna buy it. But when I'm looking at the game, I'm like, and just seeing like they're still just on the same 151 Pokemon. It just kind of feels like nothing's really changed, has it? Like at least from the outside, me looking at it, like does it just? I can't see what this game is doing that different.
Yeah.
Right. To like not to justify itself, but to justify how much was amped up for this to or versus what this game could be.
Yeah. Pokemon will, again, I've said it multiple times, will be one of those things that the franchise that I feel doesn't live up to its vast potential, but I still really enjoy what it does, and I know I'm part of the problem with doing that.
And it's hindered by its own success.
Yes. And we talked about that ad nauseum. But as far as the Gen 1 stuff goes, I really hope some people brought up, specifically Joe Merrick, aka Cerebi, brought up as far as this announcement doing these 5 Gen 1 Pokemon. Right after the trailer, there was a stream of Game Freak celebrating their 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
So this could be in them celebrating their biggest game, breakout game and all that. But people also point out, hey, if they want to do that, have a Gigantamax form for one Pokemon from every gen.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be great.
If to celebrate the whole thing instead of celebrating the one gen and saying that's all that kind of stuff. But the talk for the round this game is getting annoying because there are a bunch of people trying to shut down any criticism, saying, I literally saw people saying, I don't like this Gen 1 pandering, and the people like, why are you so toxic, unironically. I'm like, what is, you're the one who's making this toxic.
Yeah.
I know. It's been a very annoying thing. And also the fact that as far as the Gen 1 stuff, we go back to a year ago to Let's Go and all that. We're like, you're getting your hardcore game and they won't focus on Gen 1 next year. Come around now and crickets from those people. Or they'll say the whole complaint's like, no, like, you shouldn't complain and all that. This isn't a hardcore game. You said literally last year. And I'm literally like, these are the exact same people. I'm not just saying like a general that saying, we're getting the hardcore game this year. I knew that was bullshit, but you said so. And now you
hear it's like, oh, Pokemon's not a hardcore game.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's get into the preview details, which generally gets me more excited. So I am really excited about this game for a lot of reasons.
We all need to get better about not letting people online being negative and annoying to get to us, which I'm very guilty of it too.
But as I mentioned, leading up to this, people got preview details, played about 90 minutes of the actual final game, though it may not been like the complete retail version, because someone just tried to grind Sobble to get it to evolve and apparently couldn't do it. So
maybe
they may turn that off.
Maybe he just never evolves.
Yeah. Okay. So details we'll talk about as we go. You can skip catching tutorials and tutorials in general in the beginning. Thank you, Christ.
I take back everything I said. Pokemon is a brave new franchise.
Yep. This is one of those things just annoying. I know how to catch Pokemon. You just throw a ball at it.
I think all JRPGs need to start doing this. Like,
Yeah.
hey, yo, I know how to do basic turn-based menu combat. You don't have to give me a tutorial for everything.
Yeah. Previewers cannot talk about certain Pokemon they saw. The reason I brought this up is because that probably means there's a new Pokemon.
Probably, yeah.
Which means, and they mentioned there was a good many of those they couldn't talk about. So it means new Pokemon that they haven't revealed yet early in the game.
That's good.
And I'll just bring up this. Wait, I thought I had one. No. All right, at least 6 new Pokemon in the first 90 minutes, apparently, someone said.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Like, new Pokemon that we haven't seen are just new to the game.
I think it's just new in general, or maybe it was just new in, I don't know.
Yeah, it probably just new.
I mean, that's kind of exciting just to hey, you get to see a good many new Pokemon early on.
Yeah.
Because normally you don't, you can see more as usually you branch out.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. You can find higher level Pokemon early. What I mean by this, you get into the wild area, the big open area, pretty early, Darby.
Yeah.
And in Xenoblade fashion, or MMO fashion, or mainly Xenoblade, you like in Xenoblade, you see like a 50 level monster just flying around you really early in the game. There's some people that hate them, like, what's wrong with you? That's cool.
In Final Fantasy 14, when I was playing with Alex decided to go aggro on a like level 80 monster that was in the world. It proceeded to one-shot me and teleported me all the way back to Gridania when we were in Uda. And then I had to pay like $500 to get back to Uda. I was not happy, but anyway.
Yeah. So what happened was people went into the wild area and met like a level 26 Onyx. Ooh. When you have level 10.
I like Onyx. Yeah.
So yeah, Onyx is the game and it's catchable. So Darby, this is gonna be interesting when it comes to the Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
That you can do this find these really early. Apparently
get wiped.
So people made it sound like the game kind of mentions to you, hey, these are very high level Pokemon, you should just run away. So it makes it sound like maybe in the wild area it's easier to run away, because a lot of times when you see higher level monsters in other games, it's harder to run away, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But make it sound like it might be easier, like if you're in a higher level thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously you wouldn't be prepared for that.
But it also might be that, normal people not playing in a Nuzlocke, if one of your Pokemon faints while you're trying to get away, it's not the end of the world. Whereas to us, it would be pretty much the end of the world.
I think we'll have to see how it goes. It maybe make some kind of rules for that. Yeah. But as far as the catching goes, we've already kind of discussed it, and I think we're in agreement as far as the catching rules in the wild area and just in general. We do not count Pokemon that we encounter in the overworld. Like we see an Onyx walking around, slithering around the overworld. That Pokemon does not count if we went into it. We only count random stuff in the grass, which is confirmed to be in this based on the previews.
Oh yeah, that's good. As long as there's enough grass. So there's grass in every route.
It sounds like it. I think so.
Are there routes? There's like actual.
There are actual routes in the wild area, which based on the E3 footage, supposed to be broken up into segments.
Okay.
So once we go past an invisible line, a name of the area will come up, and that's what I will count as a route.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, if we were fighting things in the overworld, then you could pick out what you want to fight, and that
defeats the purpose, and we are not doing that. Yeah. So we will do the wild thing.
We'll probably have just a rule that if you accidentally get into an encounter in the overworld, it doesn't count.
Oh no, yeah. We're just not counting this.
Yeah.
You can not disable EXP share.
Yeah. Which is also like, I know you were kind of complaining about that for the sake of Nuzlocke, also just because of our
and also just kind of Nuzlocke,
takes options away from us. Like,
I mean, it's also just one of those general things. Like, why take this option away? Like, it's a small thing, but why take it away? But the way if it has to be mandatory, the way they're doing it is the best implementation I think they can do. The way it works is the Pokemon that's fighting gets the most experience no matter what. Let's say there's Pokemon in your party at the same level. They get half of what the Pokemon that actually fought did. Mm. And then higher level Pokemon get even less, so it scales.
Yeah.
That's fine. And in the end, it's probably for the best. That means less grinding on my part.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of playing the game normally, I think, like you said.
No. In my own playthrough, if it was an option, it would have been on at all times for me.
Yes. Yeah, obviously, it just makes it less grindy, which helps everyone. It's just our specific Nuzlocke, which this game is not at all like made with Nuzlocke.
I'm honestly going to be less worried about levels and Emerald just because of like I'm not going to do the whole I'm not planning on doing the whole max level rules for a gym leader just because I'm not as familiar with this game. It will be a kind of new experience.
Yeah.
Compared to Emerald, where I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah. I think as long as we and we might end up needing to establish some rule, but as long as I just don't want to go into gyms severely over leveled to where we're.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try to over level, but I'm just saying if we're 1 or 2 levels higher, I'm not going to not use Grookey.
But we not using healing items from the jump this time.
No,
we're not going to wait until.
No, I'm going to fight that we actually do that because I do not know these Pokemon.
That's part of the fun.
No, Darby.
We'll discuss it, but that using the healing items was bullshit in the last one. And
I think I could compromise if we do a limit, because
I will put my foot down and refuse to have unlimited healing items, because if it's anything like Emerald, then it's okay, well, this Nuzlocke is kind of nothing,
Yeah,
that Nuzlocke was nothing until we established that rule. That Nuzlocke got 3 times better as soon as we established the no healing rule.
Even though the death's healing wouldn't have done anything, but whatever. But
that I think that is not true.
For a good many of them, no. But to do what I was about to say. But as far as the no healing thing is, again, it's a new game. I'm not gonna. Again, Emerald, I knew the back of my hand, so I knew what we were going into as far as moves and all that.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the option, if suddenly a Thunder Pokemon, new Ice Beam on Grookey or something, he somehow survived, that we can at least do something with him.
Yeah.
Moving on. PC is accessible everywhere. What that means is you can put Pokemon in the box.
You don't have to go back to the little
hospital place. They did that in Let's Go, and for a Nuzlocke, I'm going to say we are not allowed to do that unless we're in a town.
Yeah,
because then we can switch out Pokemon that are healthy throughout the whole thing, and it might heal them.
Yeah, that's just another rule that we can impose on ourselves. But yeah, obviously for playing the game normally, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pokedex will have a mini map that shows what Pokemon is on the route you're on.
Pokedex will have a mini that shows.
Yeah, mini map.
Okay.
So you look it up and see what Pokemon on the route you are. I think the way this is gonna work, I don't have confirmation, is you usually get a bunch of question marks when you go in, but once you see a Pokemon on the route, it kind of fills in. Right. So you're not where's this Pokemon or whatever.
Okay,
you just go on the route, pull it up, okay, these are all the Pokemon in this route.
That's good.
Yeah. Then I'm fine. Okay. That's all the Pokemon stuff. Luckily, everything that we know so far, as I understand it, Nuzlocke will be fine.
Yeah.
And in ways more interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
The wild area is going to give me a mass anxiety, though.
You see this giant, Gyarados flying over your head.
No, that's the thing. We're going to go in there level 10, and there'll be a Gyarados walking around. I'm like, stay away from that area. We see a pseudo legendary over there, and we're like,
hi, level 2 Pokemon. I'm Mewtwo. Nice to meet you.
But what could be potentially silent, let's say we go on something by accident. This is something that an actual previewer wrote. Is they ended up going into one of the I think it might have been the Onyx or something. I'll just use the Onyx as an example. When they battled it, they kind of grinded it out, keep on doing little by little, and ended up catching it. A much higher level Pokemon. So that could have some exciting moments.
It's hard Nuzlocke. We suddenly have this Gyarados super early.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. And this is the thing in all other Pokemon. It just hasn't been relevant in Emerald, so you probably didn't notice it. They're usually a max level of Pokemon that can obey you until you get a certain level of badge. So let's say we don't have the first badge, or just have the first badge. Pokemon past level 20 will not listen to us. So let's say we somehow miraculously get a level 30 Gyarados before the first gym. It won't listen to us.
Oh yeah, we couldn't use it until we get to that point.
We could use it, but it's very unlikely that it would actually listen to us.
So it just won't do the attack you say?
There's a percentage that it will not do what we say and just kind of fuck around.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know that was a mechanic.
Yeah, which, fine.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah. Some balancing.
Okay. Moving on, Darby.
Yeah, look forward to that on twitch.tv/nerds@large gaming for our Nuzlocke.
We are planning to do it at day one. I'm contemplating if I should try to get it digitally so I have it.
Yeah, however you want to do it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Go for it.
Okay. So
yeah, I think pretty much all your friends that would want to play it are already buying it with Alex and Olivia's.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing comes from Matt Perslow from IGN. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has been delayed from its original Q1 2020 launch window. It will now release sometime later in the year. Announced by developer Hardsuit Labs CEO Andy Kipling and the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1 and 2 scribe Brian Mitsuda, the delay was detailed in a blog post on the Vampire website. Today, we have to tell you that we need some more time to get you the game you've been waiting for, the post says. Although Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 will still launch in 2020, we have decided to value quality over making the Q1 launch time. They go in a little more of the kind of what it's about and all that.
Yeah. Obviously a bummer, but this game, it seems like highly ambitious, especially compared to what, like, you know, their original game and just like how like kind of small and AA it seems like this team is. So this is not really a delay that seems like, oh my god, I can't believe it.
And you know how we always talk about 2020 games and we're name them, we're like, we know we're forgetting something like in the March time. This was one of the games we were forgetting.
So really, get out of there. Shoo, go later in the year. Go to a better time.
I'd be surprised.
We would have forgotten about this game.
I mean, I'm sure they need more work on it and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure that was partly a motivator.
Yeah,
like get away from all that.
Hey, don't feel bad because this might be better for us in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a game that's doing similar things as far as the whole character stuff with Cyberpunk the month after, and that's a much
with
bigger
the like
release.
highly immersive open world thing. Like, we would have forgotten about this game. But we would have been so distracted with everything else going on. This would have been like we would have seen like somehow, because he's able to play everything in existence. Ben would play it at Easy Allies, and we would hear him talking about it, and I'd be like, "That sounds really cool." Well, I have to get back to beating The Last of Us before Final Fantasy comes out. So, bye.
Yeah. I mean, just real talk, as much as this game looks cool, I'm interested in it. I'm probably not going to get it to next year because I just think about my 2020 games, not even just the first couple months, and between stuff that doesn't have a release date, like
Psychonauts 2, baby.
Yep, exactly. Psychonauts 2, Tales of Arise, Digimon Survive, and all that. I'm like, I'm not good. Yeah, I just got to be honest with myself.
Yeah.
So
this will be like a Divinity for me. I got to Divinity Original Sin 2 like 2 years later or something and loved it. You know, might do this in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Microsoft, where's the Psychonauts 2 release date?
Cowards.
You coward. Tim Schafer, you coward.
Heard it here first.
Okay, Darby, let's talk about some Nintendo sales stuff. This comes from Business Wire. Business Wire is one of those people that don't put the author's name in there. They just say Business Wire.
They speak in one amalgamous voice as a website.
Yep. Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch licenses have combined to sell over 15 million units in North America since the launch of the flagship Nintendo Switch system in March 2017, according to Nintendo data from Nintendo. Also, I'm just going to point out real quick, that's more than the Wii U Lifetime Anywhere sells. Just in North America.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah.
Through September, Nintendo Switch sales in North America were up more than 20% year to date. In the US alone, Nintendo Switch has been the best-selling video game console for 10 months in a row, according to NPD Group, which tracks video game sales in the United States. And we might talk about them right after this even more. To date, 14 Nintendo Switch games in North America have sold more than 1 million units, with 4 selling more than 6 million. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Franchises like Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. Broke records on Nintendo Switch, with their latest iterations selling faster than any other game in this series. Smash, no surprise. It's the best-selling game. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I'm a little surprised about just because of Mario Kart Wii's massive sales, which is in the 30 millions.
Yeah.
But if this keeps up the pace, honestly, it could get close to that. Not beat it.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of those that
I mean, especially when you combine Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U sales, like put that into one. It will surpass that.
Yeah, which I don't think they normally do.
They normally don't. They're kind of separate, but honestly, as far as like us talking on them, I'll probably bring that up whenever sales get updated.
Yeah, you might.
I think that's fair.
No, I think Mario Kart 8 is probably going like I could see Mario Kart 8 by the time it's all said and done, like at least appearing on the like top selling games of all time or something. Like it's going to like that game just continues to be on the NPD every single month after. It just seems like an essential when you buy a Switch.
Oh yeah.
It's just
as far as multiplayer goes, that and Smash now, it's like you get those and you're good for a long while.
Yeah.
So Switch is selling good here. There's no surprise there, but I think those crazy numbers for the time they've been here just for North America.
Yeah.
I don't know when it might be in the next week. We should be getting Q3 stuff started getting from everyone, but Nintendo usually gets the most out of.
Has that
so it
really
should be
thing,
soon.
which I always love seeing.
But I like to see the 6 million for those 4 games just in North America.
Yeah,
it's nice.
That's very
feels
big.
good.
Very big. I'm so glad that Breath of the Wild wasn't something that we had to sit here and say it was so good, but it just didn't sell that way. Like, I'm glad that it actually lived up to, because even Zelda games, when you look back at sales, don't sell as much as you think they do. For how much everyone knows about Zelda, it does not sell.
The top selling before this, I think, was Twilight Princess, 8 million or something.
Yeah, which that sounds so low. So low.
Especially when you get this game, which probably close to 15 million plus at this point.
It's almost that much in just America.
Yeah. So. It's crazy how much games sell. So, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be huge.
Boy.
But yeah.
Do you think Breath of the Wild 2 will outsell Breath of the Wild?
So here's the thing. It's usually, I think, there won't be some people that won't be carried over, but there's always that thing of sequels. A lot of times sequels sell better than the original.
In video games, especially.
Yeah. So, probably.
Yeah. And there's just going to be more switches.
I mean,
also
because Breath of the Wild 2 will probably cut Breath of the Wild sales. And Breath of the Wild continue selling, so it'll be Breath of the Wild 2, and odds are when there's a Switch 2, there'll be a Breath of the Wild 2 port at the very least.
Yeah.
It'll probably Breath of the Wild original too, because why not?
Yeah, because money.
So, honestly, we'll obviously talk a lot. Spoiler, Breath of the Wild 2 will definitely be on my top 2020 anticipation list, because I mean, I'm just saying that because obviously it would be on there, but I believe it's at least now scheduled for 2020. I'm going to keep that in my mind until Nintendo says otherwise.
Yeah. I'm still on the fall 2020 and spring 2021. Both sound about equally plausible to me.
I agree. But I really do believe that they're planning internally for next year. But let's talk about them NPDs. Okay, so we're going to go through the top 20 and then go through the top 10 for the year. Top 20 for the month and top 10 for the year.
Yeah.
And then whatever little information. And we got to talk about, again,
how did anime fare? We'll see.
One anime fared well. Another anime did not. And we'll get to that. It makes me very sad. We're going to talk about this.
One flies and one dies.
I figured it'd be the other way around, but we'll get to that. Number 1, NBA 2K20. Who is surprised here? No one.
Shocked. What is
this?
What is this China scenario?
Oh, yeah. And I was going to... Sometimes I forget to do this. We do NPDs. This all comes from Matt Piscatella from the NPD group. Go follow him on Twitter.
But in the Chinese version of the game, they just deleted the manager of the Rockets. He's out of the game.
Is that true, or are you just saying that?
I'm just saying that, but it doesn't sound that implausible, does it?
I feel like they just stopped selling the game. That's the more likely scenario. NBA 2K20 debuts as the best-selling game in September and instantly becomes the best-selling game of 2019 year to date.
That's crazy.
Yeah. NBA 2K20 launched month sales with the highest for any sports game in history, exceeding sales of the previous record holder, NBA 2K19.
It's crazy.
I forget until we actually see the data how much obviously sports games sell, but NBA 2K and just
it's
in
weird
general.
Because yes, NBA is definitely on the rise, but the NFL is still more popular. It still gets more viewership than the NBA, but the NBA 2K games always outsell Madden. I think some of it's just the quality of the games.
I think it's partly that, and I feel like just because I think it does help, like you said, NBA is on the rise in the US, but this is I'm someone who hasn't really played much of these sports games in years, so I can see just in general a basketball translating to a video game better than football, and it'd be more mass appealing. Just because it's because it's 5v5, it's easier to switch around with people and all that kind of stuff.
That is true. I mean, especially if you're playing with your friends, it's easier. Yeah. You all have something to do. Whereas I feel like I grew up playing the Madden games with friends and it was a lot of fun, but it was the quarterback is doing most of the stuff. It's like when you're doing other things, you're kind of just waiting to get.
And at least with
to.
us for defense is like you don't actually want to touch the controller to get to mess things up.
You're incentivized to just set the controller down and let the computer.
Or you play a defensive lineman or something and just try to rust the quarterback, and that's it.
Yeah, when you think about this, like we really enjoy, and I still enjoy playing Madden, but it is a pretty like. It's a lot of you doing nothing.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can see that.
Number 2, I figured it'd be number 1, but I forgot about NBA 2K. Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 set a new franchise launch month sales record, debuting at the second best-selling game in September. And yeah, no surprise that it sold well. No surprise it had the best debut month of a Borderlands game.
No surprise at all. And like you said, it would have been if it wasn't for NBA. That was the only thing that could have.
I'm going to go ahead and say I probably predicted Borderlands, but I completely forgot about 2K, like I normally do.
We always do.
Yeah.
We always forget about them sports. This is sports season for these games.
Yep. So, good.
Speaking of sports.
Number 3, FIFA 20. This wasn't his debut month, right?
Yeah, I think it came out last month.
Okay. Number 4, baby. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, no digital sales.
Hot damn.
I think that's good for this month, considering it's digital only.
Yes.
I mean physical only.
Yeah, and like I don't know, this just seems like a game that a lot of people would get digital too. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not basing that off of much. It's just like a smaller game. But no, that is very impressive.
Yeah, and I guess the whole it being $60 didn't affect too many people.
Clearly not that much because for it to still be this high. I mean, I did think that was a concern, but Nintendo has been advertising this a lot. Like I've seen TV commercials, almost every YouTube video I've went to has a commercial for this. Like they are pushing it, and I think it's working.
Good. It's a great game. Number 5, Madden NFL 20. Number 6, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's probably disappointing for that game. It is his debut. Oh wait. Okay, I'm about to throw this out there. I remember reading this. Right. There's only after 2 days of sales.
Okay, yeah.
That makes a little more sense.
Then that's actually not that bad for only 2 days of sales because I mean, remember Wildlands was the best-selling game for like the whole first almost half of the year. The year it came out, so I'm sure that they had decently high expectations for this. So I mean, I guess we'll have to see more probably in next month's NPDs. But.
Yeah. Okay, so next is Gears 5 and number 7, no PC digital sales, I believe. So, okay, number 7 might sound disappointing, but Game Pass is a thing. This is actually really good for this game.
It's the second month, and it has Game Pass, and apparently from what we've seen, it's on Game Pass, and it's being downloaded a lot on Game Pass. It's not like it's just sitting there wasting away.
As someone who works in retail and has like ESPN and stuff all the time, there are so many Gears 5 commercials, and then it always says available now on Game Pass Ultimate or Game Pass or whatever. So I'm sure that's helping. And honestly, I've seen those commercials like, I kind of want to play this game. I think it's
I hate that version of the Fleetwood Mac song. Like, I love Fleetwood Mac so much. I hate that.
I'm not saying that part. It's like just the general vibe of it is cool. And all that. Looks fun. And just seeing it in other places
just
looks
see
fun.
That same trailer over and again.
No, that I agree with. Number 8 might be the biggest surprise of the month. Code Vein.
No, I'm legitimately shocked. Like,
I figured this wouldn't be on this list, or like number 19 or 18 or something.
I thought there was a 0% chance it made the top 20.
And in this month, it's number 8.
Who's buying this game? Like, how...
Darby,
what did they do to earn this?
We forgot our motto. You don't doubt anime.
You don't doubt anime. But there was just no marketing or anything. The only press I saw was like people who had played it previewing it being like, yep, it sure is a game. It's a swimming in sevens. It's all right. And that's like the most I had heard.
Darby, I'm only saying this halfway serious because it's an anime game. I think it's that character creator.
Yeah.
Anime fans are weird, man. I mean, I bought Jump Force, so I'm in the same boat. But
yeah, you're pretty weird too, Joe.
Yeah. I need to play more Jump Force.
No, I'm legitimately shocked. I did not see that one.
Good for it.
No,
because after everything, I mean, it was supposed to come out over a year ago. It was supposed to come out last September.
Yeah, And then it kind of just comes out with very little marketing, very little fanfare, but apparently decent amount of sales. Is this a
I will say I've been getting ads like you were saying for Link's Awakening. I've been getting that for Code Vein.
Really?
Yes.
I've never seen a single ad for Code
I've been
Vein.
getting a lot of Code Vein ads.
Interesting.
But me and anime.
This is true. To be fair, like I kind of made the mistake of like I got a Link's Awakening ad, and hey, Link's Awakening, and it had a thing there. It was like, do you like this ad? And I had gotten so many like political ads that I'm like, sure, give me more of this. And YouTube's like, okay, cool. We're gonna show you nothing but that same ad for the next like 2 weeks. So every YouTube video I go to is the exact same Link's Awakening ad. Yeah. Is this a win for anime, Jeff?
About as win as Jump Force because anime games selling well, but the quality of it is not the best. Though this quality is better than Jump Force.
I was about to push back a little bit and say like I think this game definitely clearly seems better than Jump Force. Like this game doesn't seem bad. It's just there's nothing that special about it. It's just kind of a Soulsborne.
It's sold
game.
because it's anime. Let's be honest.
Don't doubt it.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of anime.
Yep. NHL 20, number 9. My favorite anime game.
I love when Naruto hits the puck.
Number 10, Mario Kart 8, no digital sales. Still in the top 10 at this month with all those new releases.
This train don't stop, baby.
Number 11, Minecraft. I forget what that symbol means, but it probably means
Minecraft hashtag.
It probably means something dumb like no digital Xbox or PS4 sales.
Toaster sales.
Number 12, Grand Theft Auto 5. The just doesn't stop.
This is how you know that it was a big month for sales when GTA 5 is out of the top 10.
Number 13, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, no digital sales. Let's go. Let's keep ourselves. Number 14, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Let's go.
That feels good.
It's just because of that Switch release.
That feels very good, yeah.
I'm going to get it at some point. I'm hoping for a good Black Friday sale. I want that Spyro game.
I think probably Spyro and Crash probably both do very well on the Switch.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Crash confirmed for Smash. Number 15, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Arthur Morgan confirmed for Smash.
I agree. Number 16. Wait, actually, before we move on, I'm curious to see if Red Dead...
would you rather have Lenny?
Yes. This was exactly what I was going to say. I'm curious to see if Red Dead will get a bump at all with the PC thing coming out, or if those won't be counted towards this.
I'm going to look at the specs, and if I think my laptop can run it, I might get it. I don't know. Like, that game would look beautiful. But we'll see.
Darius, we weren't that far. It's changed a lot. Should we get it to do online if our laptops can run it?
If our laptops can run it is a big question, but
I want to run around the Wild West with you while we try to rob Tom's tank engine.
Yeah, like that's the thing. PC is just going to open up a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah.
A magical wonderland.
Number 16, despite the fact we got another Tom Clancy game that just released, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Like, speaking of games that don't stop selling.
This train don't stop.
Yeah. Number 17, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. I don't know if that's good for this game or not, or bad for this game or not, because that's a new release.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's some kind of weird, like, I don't know. I think it's some kind of weird, like, free-to-play thing.
Isn't the other one free to play at this point?
Or maybe I don't know. I can't remember what the.
I think they've been free to play for a while, but
yeah.
I might be wrong.
But it's on this list. It's that low. I don't know if that's good for it.
So yeah, I think usually free to play games aren't on the NPDs.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm confused. So that might be bad for this game, probably. Number 18, Marvel's Spider-Man. Still doing well. Number 19, Catherine.
That's good.
That's good for this
game.
Pretty good for
yeah, for a re-release of a kind of niche puzzle game.
Yeah. Number 20, it almost got knocked out. Its streak is continuing to go. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, no digital sales. Let's go, baby.
You can't hold my boy down.
Can't hold back Lunk.
Oh god, I need fan art of Lunk. I need it.
Okay, so let's get to the top 10 of the years so far, Darby.
Okay.
Number 1, NBA 2K20. It's probably going to stay there. Except for Call of Duty. That's the only thing that would defront it. Number 2, Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah.
Oh, Jeff, I'm seeing how far down anime's starting to go. I'm sorry.
Look at that. Number 3, Borderlands 3. Yeah. Number 4, Madden NFL 20.
I'm sorry, it's just wild to be like, I know it's huge or whatever, but like just think about NBA in 1 month selling more than everything else has the entire year. It's just kind of crazy. Yeah.
Number 5, Kingdom Hearts 3. Let's go anime. Hold on, baby.
What was it last month? Was it 3rd last month?
Yes, NBA 2K and Borderlands knocked it down.
Yeah, right. That is still huge, and I still think it's going to end in the top 10. But
Call of Duty will come out and knock it down a peg.
There's a chance it doesn't end in the top 10, but I think it probably will.
I believe, damn it.
I don't think there's too many. I mean, like, Star Wars and Call of Duty could both sell more than that. But Star Wars might not. I don't know. Call of Duty will, but Star Wars might not.
Call of Duty 100% will.
Yeah. Star Wars will release something.
Either way, it's a win for Disney.
Yep.
Number 6, Tom Clancy's Division 2. That could knock it down if it continues to...
Yeah.
Wait, Division 2 wasn't even in the top 20, so maybe not.
Maybe not.
Number 7, Anthem. Despite selling miserably since then, Darby, this is a game I keep on seeing sale prices of $10 for.
Really? Wow.
The game bombed. Like, it's weird to say it bombed because it's in the top, it's the 7 best-selling game of the year, but it was so front-heavy. Like, it is a failure to...
Oh, and also it's budget.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. For the budget and everything, marketing and all that, it is a bomb to EA.
This game was supposed to be like number 2 right now.
I saw some of the like industry people or some people that see the sales stuff or whatever be like, people keep on calling Anthem a bomb, but it's still like number 7 game of the year. It's like, it still did bad.
like, yeah, 7 would be good for a lot of games, but this game was supposed to be. This game was, and it's also one of those things that even if it ends in a good spot, like overall sales wise, and ends like around where they wanted it to be this year, which it didn't, it's below. But even if let's say they're happy with the 7 or whatever, what they're not going to be happy with is, I don't think there's an active player base worth. Like I don't think there's anywhere near the active player base they wanted for this. They wanted Anthem to be a Destiny 2 type thing, where Destiny 2 is putting out expansions now, like 3 years after the fact, and people are still, it's a big deal. Anthem, whatever expansions Anthem put out 2 years from now, 3 years from now, if they even do, I don't think anyone's going to give a shit. And I think that's the bigger problem, is that Anthem was supposed to be an ongoing
and also, especially they were talking about and everything, and that was what EA wanted. Anthem was supposed to be the number 1 on this list, except maybe till this month until NBA 2K, because that's a juggernaut. It's supposed to be a potential Game of the Year nominee, or at least be one of the favorites in its genre. But if at this point, if it's like we get to the Game Award nominees and it's on a list, any list, I'm going to be like, Keely, who did you talk to for this to happen?
Yeah,
because it's not just a thing of the press liked it and the people who would vote for that stuff and the normal Joes hate it. Everyone hated it.
It was just an overwhelming like meh, just meh.
But something that should be on the Game Award nominee list: Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 8.
Everybody remember it's still in this running, not last year's running.
I mean, luckily with the whole characters and stuff, it's hard to forget that it exists. But I really hope Jeff does a little thing at the bottom. Hey, remember Smash is eligible.
Yeah, please remember.
Yeah,
I think Smash will be fine.
Yeah. Number 9, Resident Evil 2 2019. It's about to be knocked off.
Hold on, it's going to be knocked off.
Yeah, it is. Number 10, Grand Theft Auto 5. Red Dead's knocked off also. All right, RIP, baby.
People are not going to remember that game for as good as it was. Anyway.
Yep.
All right, Jeffrey, we're going to push this main topic to next week.
I figured we were going to do that about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, and you figured right. But now we're at the point where I have to say it out loud. So that will be our podcast this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It is after midnight here. We gotta go to Betty bye. Yeah, so look forward to Twitch streams, twitch.tv/NerdsAlwaysGaming for Untitled Goose Game, Pokemon, and all kind of other things. And Nerds and Dragons is going to be our D&D podcast whenever that uploads. Sayonara, Wild Hearts. I want to play that game.
Yeah. Apparently it's like only like an hour or something.
Yeah,
long.
Hour and a half, and everyone says it's really good. I listened to like the title track. pretty like it's like Churches. It's like I love it. It's like really good.
Did you hear the Churches song for Death Stranding?
Yeah, it's not good.
Okay. I haven't heard it.
Bye.
Bye.